This week's episode of 86 Charles is brought to you by Amazon. Go to 86charles.com and click on the Amazon link before you do your shopping. In the year of our great reptilian overlord, 2016.
Our home planet is young at heart. According to new calculations, Earth's center is more than 2 years younger than its surface. In Einstein's general theory of relativity, massive objects warp the fabric of space-time, creating a gravitational pull and slowing time nearby. So a clock placed at Earth's center will tick ever so slightly slower than a clock at its surface.
Hi, this is Charles. You are full of bullshit, my friend. I will sue you for everything you have. I will sue your ass.
Welcome to 86 Charles, with your hosts John Darby and Travis Spencer.
And with that, welcome to 86 Charles. Travis Spencer.
John Derby, good to be here, as always, talking to you and your beautiful voice.
Welcome back.
But what the hell are you talking about, man? I usually think I know something or other about science stories, but this one kind of blows my mind.
Yeah, I understand this probably on the most base level that you could possibly understand it. And the deeper I dug into it, the less I understood. I will expand on the previous thought, though. Such time shifts are determined by the gravitational potential, which is a measure of the amount of work it would take to move an object from one place to another. So since climbing up from Earth's center would be a struggle against gravity, clocks deep down would run slow relative to surface timepieces. I had no idea about any of that.
So the more dense gravity is, the slower your clock's going to run, even though from an outside observer who could possibly see both things, it would appear to be the same time, right?
That sounds right to me.
But it's impossible to be an observer in both places, because I think we've talked about a little bit before is like the big thing in science.
Think of it like this. If you were watching the exact same person move the exact same thing, the exact same distance at the core and at the surface, if it took the guy at the surface 5 minutes, it would take the guy at the core 5 and some change, and they're doing it the exact, and everything else is the same.
Right. Because it's
because of the strength of gravity at the core versus at the surface.
Right. So you to take it to a real world application is because at the core, the object that he's moving is going to be that much heavier that it's going to take him that much longer to move it.
Here's the human connection.
Is that right?
If you
stay
stay young at heart, people are drawn to you.
Wow. You just blew my goddamn
I just black holed your brain, bro.
Much. I feel older and older every second I talk to you.
See, and how much further away do people feel?
So at the core, you are aging slower than at the
surface.
Crust.
Correct. That is correct.
John Derby, I figured out how to solve all my problems. I've got to dig a hole to the core.
Not even, just you need more gravity. If you were surrounded by more gravity, you would be aging slower.
Let's go to Jupiter or Saturn. Those are humongous planets. We'll have a ton of gravity.
There you go. Seems easier than digging a hole
or
to the core of the Earth.
You think that would be... No, I think actually digging a hole to the core of the Earth would be way easier than getting to Jupiter or Saturn.
Nah, Richard Branson will hook you up.
Oh, you know our brand?
Dude, I know Dickie Brand all day. Me and Dickie B go way back.
All right, well, I'm going to start digging. And when we get a manned space flight to Jupiter or Saturn, give me a call.
You got it.
Probably won't have any cell connection because I'll be so deep. Until then, I don't know, like you're just trying to blow my mind. I don't know what to do other than just start digging.
I'm glad whatever I've said has led you to dig a hole to the center of the Earth.
Hey, if I'm living out here in the desert, I do have one thing, and that's ample place to start digging a hole.
Plenty of hole digging locations, for sure.
All right, well, we can't really continue this because I got to start digging.
Get a shovel.
Get a shovel.
Gravity's got a hold on me, and I'm looking for something to set me free. Gravity's
in the fuck is 86 Chuck?
We're all made of 86charles.com, man.
Oh, you're such an ass.
Speak for yourself, idiot.
Let some more hate accumulate.
It's 2015. What the hell's going on, man?
It's scary.
Strange world we live in.
Yep. The wizard's up to his old tricks.
Hey, hey, hey! Our boy got some rain.
There's so much going wrong in the world that I cannot be concerned with two dudes playing butt games. I don't care.
God is an American. God is an American.
Nah.
Nickel what? 5 topics currently trending. Travis, want to hear about a cave?
John. Depends. What kind of cave?
Scientists have found a whole new world hidden inside a cave that has been sealed off for about 5.5 million years. The cave and its residents could provide scientists with answers to questions about global warming and the formation of life on Earth. These interesting creatures call the Movile Cave in Romania their home. It was sealed when a sheet of limestone collapsed onto the opening. The cave wasn't discovered until 1986, when Romanian workers were testing the surrounding ground as a potential power plant site. Access to the cave is restricted. Less than 100 people have ever entered it. Visitors can only stay down there for 5 or 6 hours before their, and I quote, kidneys pack in. Due to this unusual environment, the animals that live in the cave have developed interesting traits. 33 of the 48 species identified are unique to the cave. Many of the species have no eyes because they have no need for them in the dark. Most of them are translucent, making them look strange, and many have adapted to grow extra long antennas or appendages to find their way in the darkness. The cave also received no radiation from the nuclear accident at Chernobyl in '86, even though soils and lakes surrounding the cave have traces of radiation according to a 1996 study. Scientists are also interested in studying bacteria in the cave and its ability to oxidize methane and carbon dioxide, which are 2 greenhouse gases that contribute the most to global warming. Researchers hope by studying the bacteria they can figure out a way to remove the gases from the atmosphere. There's a lot going on in that cave, man.
Isn't it insane, like, how much we keep just finding out about our Earth?
Just
like,
the holes in the Earth that we didn't know were there.
Like, literally, the core of the Earth is 2.5 years younger than the crust. I still don't get it. Like, and now there's this cave, and there's new things we've never
Sealed off
seen.
for 5.5.
It just keeps getting older and
years
crazier. We have
since this cave has been open.
all I wish, I hope that someday we can just get one documentary that just tells me everything that ever happened. How long would that documentary have to be, though? It would be the longest documentary ever. You couldn't ever know the history of the planet in a document, in a lifetime long. It's insane. How do we download? We have to get to the Matrix, man. We have to get to that point where we can just plug that thing in our head and know everything.
Yeah.
That's
Gotta
it.
Download all of Earth's knowledge.
There's too much data. No, this is fascinating.
Crazy.
It's like, and I love every time we think that we know everything about animals. Like these animals in this cave have no eyes because they don't need eyes, and they're fine.
They live without eyeballs because they've grown up in the dark. Oh, okay.
Maybe it's because I have bad vision, but I've always thought that really smart people are evolving in life because we're going to become psychic and we don't need vision. So this is kind of goes along with my theory.
Hey, I wear glasses. I don't disagree.
Respect to glasses wearers. Deb knows. I don't think Jesse knows. He might wear contacts though. Give him a dap if he wears contacts.
All right, moving on.
All right, let's move on. John.
Yes.
Did you hear about the baby bison that died after tourists put him in the trunk of their car?
Yeah, it's weird that a jackass picked up a bison.
So the weather at Yellowstone National Park on May 9th was fairly temperate. The low was 39 degrees Fahrenheit. I know you're afraid of the cold and, nature, but if the low is 39 and the high is 50, you're going to survive, right?
Yes.
Okay. So
Even
the two tourists, these 2 tourists saw a baby bison and they decided it looked cold and needed to be rescued. So they loaded it into the trunk of their car and drove it to a ranger station. Over the weekend, their action was widely mocked online, obviously. as evidence of extreme anthropomorphism. Thanks a lot, Disney. And stupidity. On Monday, the park revealed that it was also deadly for the bison. The newborn calf had to be euthanized, the park said in a statement, because its mother had rejected it as a result of the interference by people. Park rangers tried repeatedly to reunite the newborn bison calf with the herd. These efforts failed. The bison calf was later euthanized because it was abandoned and caused a dangerous situation by continually approaching people in cars after the abandoned. Yeah. It's so sad, man. Like, what the hell is wrong with people? Why? It's 39 degrees. It's a bison? You think it's cold? I'm sorry, I can't even make sense. I'm like, my brain is boiling at how stupid somebody could possibly be to think that a bison is fucking cold.
Are you going to drive through all of nature, rescuing every animal?
Yeah.
Did you think this was the one bison that was out in the world and it needed to be protected from the elements? It is utter insanity that this person thought that was a good idea.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's probably just the story that they're telling. Oh, we thought it was cool. They were probably being stupid, wanted to take a bison home, some kind of joke.
Right.
And then it got super real when they decided, oh, we have to kill this thing now because you ruined it.
Right. There is a photo, at least. I don't know if they did videos or anything like, but there's a photo of it in their trunk.
Yeah, I saw it.
So it could have been for that. They're like, oh, this will be a great Instagram picture. Let's put it in our...
Oh, I'm certain of that.
But how do you look at a bison, even a baby bison, and say it looks sick? Like, what's the disconnect? Who do we blame for this? Honestly, I do blame Disney for this.
Why are you touching a wild animal, period?
I blame Disney for this. Like, look at all these stupid movies they make with Morgan Freeman narrating about how great these animals are. And they talk about, or the Coca-Cola bears and stuff like that. People think, honestly, that, like, these animals are like humans. It's all about, they think just like us.
But you're going to blame movies for that? Come on, man.
No, it's stupid. Even to blame Disney is stupid. You know, it's like, those are cartoons.
That's what I'm saying. You have to blame people. This is people are stupid.
Pure stupidity, right?
There's no other excuse for this.
It's just so disgusting. And obviously there's enough bison that it's not the biggest deal in the world, but what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Again, it's not about one bison. It sucks. It's a shame for that bison. But it's about how stupid are people. And I agree with you wholeheartedly that I think that this was social media driven. Somebody trying to get a good picture, trying to get a bunch of likes, trying to get we rescued a bison, put it on Instagram, and here's our 5 minutes of fame. I hate everybody.
Do you think they were vegan?
If they were, they should be eaten by a tiger.
I wish that was in the story. We don't know, but I have a feeling might have been vegans. We better move on before we talk any more about that.
Yeah, no, it's terrible story though.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
A little more, I guess, uplifting, maybe more spirited. Evidence of 5,000-year-old beer recipe found in China. This is right up your alley, dude.
What?
Back in 2004, archaeologists excavated 2 pits in northern China that looked a lot like home brewing operations, constructed somewhere between 3400 and 2900 BC by the Yangshao culture. Each pit contained the remnants of a stove and assorted funnels, pots, and amphore. I have no idea what word that is. Jiajing Wang. Let's go with Mr. Wang of Stanford University.
Mr. Wang.
And colleagues report that the pottery shards contain residue and other evidence of starches, chemicals, and plant minerals from specific fermented grains. The ancient beer recipe included broomcorn millet, barley, Job's tears, and tubers that probably gave the beer a sweet flavor. The findings predate the earliest evidence of barley in China by around 1,000 years. So, the original king of beers.
Like I said, man, it just keeps getting older. There was like some idea that, I watched a documentary on Netflix at one point that said essentially that the builders of the pyramids were paid with beer. So it was at least in Egypt 5,000 plus years ago as well. So it's not,
Sure.
but it's good to know that like beer was everywhere.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
And I just love when we find things that change our timeline. In terms of we thought that barley wasn't in China until 1,000 years later. It's like, nope.
no, well, you know that when the ancient pyramid was up, it was just this vast energy network. You've seen Ancient Aliens, right? So it's like we had spaceships flying all around. They were probably just shipping barley back and forth from China to Egypt. You know, it's like that's probably how it went.
But if it was done by aliens, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, Ancient Aliens, man. Just look into the show. Look, that explains it all. Ancient Aliens. Pretty much anything.
That's your new history book.
Exactly. Any question you have, just be like, oh, well, obviously we had ancient technology that allowed us to do that. Duh. That's the new way. And the sad thing is, the more we know, the more it kind of makes sense. I'm not fully endorsing the theory, but I don't think those people back in the day would have seen a bison and been like, let's throw it in our spaceship and save it.
No, they would know better.
I would hope so.
They would respect the bison.
I would hope so. I'm so depressed about that one. I can't even be happy at beer, which is, it's like
even the beer story couldn't shake you out of your bison funk.
This Miller High Life in front of me, as much as I love it.
But now can we move on from the beer and the bison?
Well, let's keep it in China, all right?
Please.
What do you know about the elevated bus? You don't know anything about the
Only
elevated
what you
bus.
told me earlier.
With a carrying capacity of 1,200 people at the time, the elevated bus has the same function as a subway, while it costs construction of less than 1/5 of the subway. So essentially, it's this giant bus that hangs over 2 lanes of traffic and has like tracks in the side of the road that it goes across. So the idea is that self-driving cars are expected to usher in a new era of mobility, safety, and convenience, but they could also lead to more traffic jams. The problem is that too many people will use this technology when it becomes widely available, according to transportation researchers. Experts foresee that robot cars chauffeuring children to school, dance classes, and blah, blah, blah. So there's also going to be buses that drive over the self-driving cars. When I first read this article, I didn't realize that because my problem was if people are driving the cars, there's no way that this elevated bus is going to be able to fly over them properly. You know what I'm saying? And the pictures in it are all mock-ups. So we were talking about this earlier, and you're like, oh, it looks good, but those are all models. Because in reality, it's chaos. You know what I'm saying? You can't imagine that people are going to all be in their lane. But the idea...
I disagree. Because
go ahead.
The way that it's set up is, for people that aren't looking at the picture, just imagine a mobile tunnel on tracks similar to a streetcar.
Yeah.
So it's not railroad tracks. It's more of like a streetcar track.
It's a giant...
And look at, how many cities have streetcars and they all function fine? It's not chaos. It's like a streetcar, but it goes on the freeway or anywhere else.
Right, but the idea that it's like literally driving over cars as opposed to under or a dedicated lane adds to a little problems because.
But again, it's the same. It's the same with a streetcar. Streetcar uses the road.
No, but this is relying on people actually staying.
It's not.
This is relying on people staying perfectly in their lane. Because if you're off to the right a little bit, and you see it in LA all the time. Anywhere there's a lot of traffic, like. People are never lined up properly. There's somebody all the way to the left, almost. There's somebody, it's like.
But we have bike lanes, and people manage to make that work for the most part. I would imagine this would be the same.
I think it could work, but
don't drift onto the track. We all know that.
I think it could work, but also the pictures that we saw and the pictures that they post are a model city where everything's perfect. So I don't. It's like I just think there's too much chaos and there's too much traffic and there's too many people. And if you get caught in a lane as you're trying to turn a left and then suddenly like, oh, this giant thing, it's like, is that going to work? Is it really going to work? Is this elevated bus going to work? When it's like, okay, now the bus has to stop because something in its lane. And then what are you going to get, a ticket?
See, I was under the impression initially that there was no sort of track system, that it was just a bus that drove over cars. And to your point, yes, I think that would be absolute chaos. But the fact that it's on a fixed track, I think it'll be fine. People will know to not go onto the track. It's the same way we function with streetcars and railroads and bike lanes.
Right. Obviously, there are still accidents, but way less than you'd probably think, right?
Oh, of course it's going to. Trust me. People still try to cross train tracks, and guess what happens? They get hit by trains every day. But I think it could totally.
But I think this.
And it looks super cool.
You're absolutely right. The fact that it is on tracks, and two, the design is kind of with the idea that there's going to be a lot of automated cars, I think helps everything. I can't wait for automated cars, man. That's going to be we've talked about it so many times on this show. It's going to be the greatest thing ever.
That's going to be a big deal when it happens. Once that's in full swing, that's going to be a big deal.
I still do want to be able to turn it off and drive it though when you want. You know, there's something very American.
I think that has to be a function
at first. Eventually when the data, because the data is too much, right? It's like one of the biggest outside of tobacco. I think it's cars that are second, right? Car accidents are second for deaths in America. It's insane.
I mean, I'm sure it's top three. No,
and
doubt.
Obviously, like once not even crooked, once the politicians get a hold of it and their technology, once we can prove that it is there and not hackable, which that's a whole nother story, right? But
to my point, I think we're always going to want to drive. You're always going to want to have that, at least for the next few generations, because people have grown up with that. You're going to want to drive. You want to feel the wheel, but to be able to have everyday driving that's done automated, I think is a great idea.
Yeah.
And then when you I'm just out on a trip. I'm going to, going out on a road trip. I'm going to actually take the wheel.
Here's all I'm saying. Enjoy driving while it lasts, because there might not be, we might be 10, 15 years away from no more driving. So next time you're out on a dirt road, pull a fucking Brody.
We're a long ways away from no.
Pull a Brody, bro. Just let it dig in the dirt. It's going to be, you might not have much longer left. Brodies!
We're moving on from your Brodies conversation. Ex-dual survival host Cody Lundeen, full disclosure, he's my boy. I'm a Cody Lundeen fan. He says that his co-host tried to kill him. According to a lawsuit obtained by TMZ, filed against Discovery Channel, TMZ reports that Lundeen's suit claims Joe Tedeye threatened to kill him while shooting the Discovery show. Lundeen says in the suit that producers made it look like he was losing it during the filming, but in reality, Tedeye waved an ice axe around while threatening to bury Lundeen on a mountain in Norway. While shooting in Hawaii, Lundeen says Tedeye threatened to impale him with a spear. Lundeen alleges Tedeye, a former CIA operative, said, "You better not blow this for me, ... I think you know what is going to happen to you." Oh, Lundeen also says that Tedeye showed him pictures of people he killed while in the CIA. According to the gossip site, Lundeen's biggest issue, gossip site is TMZ, by the way, which actually probably
used
does
to be a thing,
as good a reporting as any quote-unquote legitimate.
It used to be a big deal where you're like, oh, I don't know if I can trust TMZ, but now it's almost more credible than anything, yeah.
Oh, TMZ used to be a complete
gossip site, but yeah, absolutely.
It's about as accurate as anything going now. Lundeen's biggest issue is that the show made him look like he was going crazy, and he is now having trouble finding work. So that's the crux of the lawsuit. I like this. The only reason I bring this story up is because I love dual survival. Big fan. I'm not into like Bear Grylls or anything. I'm fine with that stuff, but dual survival is the one that I really got into.
Well, just
Nick
for the
Simon's
record, I just want to set this straight. During the summer of 2016, I will not be anywhere near Sacramento, so it's no way possible that I could have possibly killed or attempted to kill John Derby. So I just want to set that clear before we get into the story. But no, I've never seen the show. I like survival shows. I don't like reality shows, but I mean, if you're gonna do a reality show,
yeah, the hook on this one is they get. Because Cody Lundeen is a naturalist. He walks around barefoot. He's got ribbons in his braided hair. And then they usually pair him up with some sort of ex-Navy SEAL, CIA, some sort of former badass. And they have very opposing kind of styles and views. But they both so they kind of give you those two perspectives on survival in terms of someone who's more passive and nature-oriented versus someone who's more aggressive and a hunter type. But yeah, it's a good show, and they did.
Sounds
did try
real
to spin
cute.
That to make Cody look like
I
he
just
was
want to
going crazy.
once again clarify that I was not in Sacramento during the summer of 2016. All right, hopefully nobody ends up dead on this show.
Fair enough. Jeez, man. If you're coming this way, you better pack a lunch.
A lunch. I like a good sandwich for lunch. So, yeah, I'll pack a sandwich. Don't worry. Good. That's enough.
Good. Bring your fruit roll up, too.
EAD is the talk of relativity. EAD is the talk of relativity. EAD is the talk of relativity. EAD is the talk of relativity.
Jesse's favorite part of the show.
From last week.
Hello, folks.
Thank goodness someone finally said it. Derby acted like it was a mistake, but the truth is obvious. Quote, I think any tattoo of you would be great. On you. End quote. Let's first debunk this correction, because obviously not any tattoo on Travis would be great. What if he got a full t-shirt tattooed to his torso and thought that entitled him to go shirtless forever? What if he got the full song lyrics for Call Me Maybe spiraled around his left leg? That would be insane. Not insane in a good way. Not in the membrane, just reg insane. Or what if he got someone else's kid's name tattooed on his arm? That would raise some questions. So, there you go. Obviously, Derby's first sentiment was real. Any tattoo of Travis would be great. And I would like to use this platform to encourage everyone to get one. What I think I'm going to do is tattoo his mustache onto my face right where a mustache would go, but just slightly off. Like the mustache is falling off my mouth. Then when I'm out, I'd curl that side of my mouth up, like I have to keep my mouth unbalanced for the mustache to stay on my face. This is Jesse, and finally deciding on my first tattoo was my favorite part of last week's podcast.
It's time for the failed athlete perspective. Travis. Oh, man.
Oh, man. I don't even want to do sports this
NBA
week.
is back.
It's gotten better, but honestly, the Warriors and Thunder, it hasn't been as the good series that I wanted to. We've had blowouts both ways.
It's true.
Way too many Thunder blowouts for what I want to see. But where are the close games? When does it come down to the last minute,
I'm just, for me personally, it is so exciting just to see Westbrook and Durant finally be Westbrook and Durant.
They're unbelievable, man. They're so long, athletic, talented, and they're actually driven.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That is how I feel. They finally have that. I think they're finally hungry enough.
Yeah, is it Billy Donovan, or is it just like a product of the times? Is it because the Warriors and Spurs got so much credit? Mostly the Warriors got so much credit, and Steph is the poster boy of the NBA and just pissed off.
It's a George Clooney, Mark Wahlberg movie, man. A perfect storm. Yeah, it's all of it.
Absolutely.
I think Billy Donovan, yes. And I think these guys are mature, yes. I think they're hungry. I think they're driven. I think they hate that everybody says the Spurs and Warriors are better than they are. I think it's all of it.
Do you think that Russell Westbrook has enough money and time and care to make a cereal of all Steph Curry's face, and he just eats that every morning? He pours almond milk over it, and he just chomps on.
No, I'm sure
Captain
you've seen
Crunch.
it on Facebook, the pancake videos where they always make pancakes out of like cartoon characters and stuff. He probably eats a Steph Curry pancake all day, every day.
Every morning. I like the idea of cereal more because they're crunchy. So every bite, he's just like, I could see Russ doing that. Like, as he's got his, he probably wears a fancy robe in the morning or something.
But I feel like if you actually ate Steph Curry, it would be soft like a pancake.
No, how
Especially
dare
once
you.
you got down to that
He's
ankle.
not 100%.
Once you got down to that ankle, it'd be like eating a churro.
I love this Warriors team, and I love Steph so much. It's been brutal to watch, man.
I know.
Draymond with the kick to Steven Adams' nuts, who I will say, first of all, as a man who's grown my hair long, and some people call me a hipster, I love Steven Adams. And to see him get kicked in the nuts by Draymond Green took me a little bit out of Warriors camp. I won't lie. Like, that was unbelievable. It's like, I wish he had gotten kicked out of the game. That's all. Kick him out of the game. Instead of this, we have to wait till the next day and this NBA makes the decision. Of course they made the right decision, because we don't want to see the Suns in 2007 again, where Amari and Boris get kicked out of the series, and then this.
No, I did not want him suspended, but I can't say that he didn't do it on purpose. I don't.
He deserved a suspension, but I'm glad that Game 4 happened and the Thunder beat the shit out of the Warriors with Draymond on the floor. I'm happy for that, because that's what he deserved. He's been a shell of himself from the moment he kicked him. He's been out of control. Like the whole thing is, he's kind of the emotional center of the Warriors.
He's the vocal leader.
And if he's not in
Steph
control,
Curry's the leader of that team, but Draymond Green is the vocal leader.
Absolutely. The crazy thing is, going into the last 3 games, there's no doubt in the world that the Warriors should win this series, right?
Yeah. There was some doubt. As soon as the Thunder beat the Spurs, there was some doubt.
Oh, did I say the Warriors? I mean the Thunder. Yeah, I said the Thunder, right? The Thunder have to win this series.
Oh, now? Yes.
Right. But there's the fun thing with the Warriors is there is a chance that Steph gets completely hot for the next 3 games. So it's still going to be fun to watch. Please give us at least 2 good games in this series, and I'll be happy. If the Warriors come out and win Game 5 and then go back to Oklahoma City and give them a good game, I'll be happy. If I get one more blowout, I'm going to be really disappointed,
I sort of feel like Game 5 could be a blowout, though, for Golden State. I feel like they could.
You think coming back?
Oh, down 3-1
the Thunder don't have enough
in front of
drive
that crowd's
to really
be
bring in that game?
I think Game 5
Andre
could
Roberson.
be a blow. And the Thunder, how do you not have a letdown? You're up 3-1 against the kings of the world, and you put the boots to them. It wasn't like you were squeaking by or there was controversy at the end. You absolutely put the Spurs to them. Pardon the pun.
Yeah. Kicked them right in the nuts.
Yeah,
Oh, wait a minute.
Protect Adams' Kiwis.
I love Steven Adams.
I've liked Steven Adams correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that they got him because of draft picks they've got from James Harden. I believe that is correct.
I think that
because Andre Roberson should be the other one,
right? Which Roberson had.
He paid off tonight for sure.
Killed it after they left him just That's been the crazy thing to think, because we always thought like Golden State's such a great team and so athletic, and then you put them against this team and. Jesus Christ, this team is out of control.
Everybody on that team is long and fast.
Yeah, let's play this small lineup. Oh, a small lineup with Serge Ibaka and Kevin Durant. You've got 2 7-footers who are blocking everything at the rim.
You've got a 7-foot center and we'll say 6'11" power forward with probably a 7'4" wingspan. That's your small lineup.
I'm sad, but you know who's right? You know who's always right?
Charles Barkley.
Yeah. You can't.
Chuck Stradamus.
Unless Steph comes out and makes jump shots like no other.
Chuck Stradamus.
Jump shots don't win championships.
Again, I know I'm going to sound like a Warriors hater, but I just love that somebody stepped up and stopped them. Well, I can't even say stopped them, because they could rattle off 3 wins like nobody's business. So this series is not over.
I think it's over.
Trust me. OKC needs to be where they are.
I do believe it's over. It's been an amazing year. I love Steph Curry. I just hope it drives them to be better next year, to go out and get that piece, like to replace Bogut, like to get a big guy, an athletic big. Who's a big? Like, there's nobody
Dwight
out there.
Howard,
I don't even know.
Go get D12.
Bismack Biyombo. That's who you get.
No, they just got Bismack. He's still under contract. Contract Biyombo.
I'm sad. All your Warriors hate has come through. But like I said,
like I've always said, it was never Warriors hate. I was always disappointed in the rest of the league. And finally, somebody, and it was the team that I believe I'd mentioned at some point should be the team to do it.
Yeah, well, I think we had this conversation exactly. It was like, when there's no reason in the world why Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant on the same team shouldn't be the best team in the league. Those dudes are unbelievable.
They're unbelievable.
And something clicked in Westbrook's head. It was in the last series against the Spurs, right, where he was like, I'm going to be a playmaker first.
Game 3.
And his out-of-control play turned into controlled chaos.
But you could even see it. I'll even go back to last year when they did so much without Durant. You could see Westbrook became a leader, a point guard, a floor general, a game manager.
Right, but he was still, even at that point, he was playing out of control to a point where it was just like
he's always going to be
unbelievable.
He's always going to be
the amount of
Russell
effort.
Westbrook.
The motor in that dude is unreal. Like physically, what he has, like Steph can't.
He's
match
always
that.
a Tasmanian
Steph
devil,
can make
but if you can tell him where to go, you'll take it.
totally. So you have to give Billy Donovan a lot of credit. Like he's been the Tasmanian devil tamer.
Sure,
right?
He's a good. I mean,
it's crazy.
A lot. You could say, yeah, he just didn't screw it up, but he's done something. His lineups, whatever it is he's done, he's got them performing at the level that they should be performing. And he didn't.
Right.
He didn't add any team. He didn't add any talent to that team. That team was constructed before he ever got there, and he's just getting more out of them.
Team.
So you do have to give him credit.
Well, game 4, the big thing was Robertson, Ibaka, and Deion Waiters was hitting huge shots.
Deion
Like those
Waiters
guys
played good tonight,
hit
too.
huge shots. That team is unbeatable.
Randy Foye contributed.
but,
They have bench players that are finally stepping up.
For the record, I'm not going to go against the Warriors. I'm still going to say the Warriors in 7. Still.
Well, didn't you say Warriors in 5?
I did. I did say the Warriors in
Yeah.
5. Game 1 is actually where they lost the series, but that's a long story.
Well, I'll probably be wrong,
So,
too.
but I'm not going to go against my
7.
team. I'll stick with the Warriors. I'm going to go with that Steph and Clay get hot as hell. Draymond pulls his head out of his ass. And Andrew Bogut, he needs to pull some Aussie versus Kiwi shit and get in Steven Adams' head. It needs to be him and Steven Adams' head, not Draymond. Draymond went for the wrong head when Bogut could have been in his real
Are we
head
sure
with
Bogut's
Aussie
healthy,
Kiwi
though?
thing.
Hasn't he been struggling with some
No.
issues?
Him and Steph both, and even Draymond's ankle, but no excuses.
No, it's
The
not making an
Warriors,
excuse, but I feel like that's why you're not getting the Bogut-type performance.
You know what? But really what it is it's sad because I wanted to see Spurs Warriors because the basketball was so beautiful. You know, like moving the ball. The Warriors aren't moving the ball. They're sloppy. It's like Steph tries to be too cool and makes these little half-ass passes that aren't getting to anybody.
Too cute.
And you're not fooling anybody, dude. You're not fooling anybody. You can be the best player in the world when you want to, but this is the playoffs, son. And it worked last year, but guess what? People are pissed off now because they're tired of seeing your face all over the place. Step it up. 3 games in a row. All you got to do is score 45 in each game. I think he's got it. I'm picking the Warriors in 7.
I'm definitely taking the Warriors in Game 5. This series could very well be decided in Game 6, one way or the other.
I think that's where it happens. Yeah,
but
absolutely.
even
if the
even
Warriors
if the
win
Thunder
Game
drop
6,
Game 6, I'm still sticking with my Thunder in 7 because I still think because
If
they
they
know
drop
that they
Game
can go
6,
into Golden State and get a win.
that's the hope. I don't care who wins Game 7. Like, if we get to Game 7, then it was all worth it. You know what I'm saying? All the drama, all the bullshit. If we get to Game 7, it'll be worth it either way, right?
Yeah.
And then we hope for a good finals against, let's move to the other league.
It's going to be Cleveland.
Even
though give credit to Toronto. They've put up a punch.
We'll move to the National League. The lesser league. Cleveland, are you worried? Are you worried if you're Cleveland right now? So people will hear this on Thursday, and we can only imagine that Cleveland won Game 5, right? There's no way. Even if it goes to 7, which could possibly happen. Toronto's really good at home.
Toronto's got a good home court.
And Kyle Lowry has apparently found his shot, which he's been terrible throughout. You know, well, he's had couple good games here and there, but for the most part, been pretty terrible.
Oh,
He's a good player, though. Like, there's a Kevin Love injury problem that I think could be pretty big. And
he already said he's playing in
as
Game
good
5, though, so it can't be that bad.
Yeah, he was limping around. He looks like he might as well be a 45-year-old man.
Yeah.
He is.
He's not been
He's
as good
beat
as he
up
was
out
in
there,
Minnesota. Man. Not even close. Even physically, I don't
those
feel
first
like he's
2 rounds
as...
of the playoffs, he was hitting shots and like he was really active and like played good defense even. And you're just like, what? Like, how does he look so old so suddenly? I don't know.
I think it's that Cleveland water doesn't suit him.
So you're gonna say what's your prediction
Cleveland
now?
in 6.
Cleveland in 6, or are you gonna go 7? I'll say Cleveland in 7. I want both series to go 7.
I don't see that.
I'm still sticking with my Warriors Cleveland pick. It's going 7, and it's going to be unbelievable. I'm going to eat my words, but I'll go ahead and pick it.
Hey, Thunder Cavaliers would be a really good final. That's a lot of star power.
Yeah, either as long as the Cavs make it, it doesn't matter who comes out from the West. It's going to be great. And if it is Thunder Cavaliers,
I'll say it right now.
Cavs,
If
'cause the
Toronto
Thunder
gets
gonna
through, I will
smoke.
root for Toronto to win the whole thing.
Oh yeah, I'll be from the North. I wish I had. That's one of the few jerseys that I did. I had a Damon Stoudemire Toronto Raptors jersey back in the day.
Yeah. Speaking
My
of
boy
Damon
Damon.
Stoudemire, where's he coaching now?
Where's he smoking
No, where's
now?
he coaching now?
Oh, I don't know.
Pacific
I lost track
University,
of him
new head
after he-
coach.
Where?
At Pacific University.
Oh, Pacific. Sorry, you cut out. Pacific. Really? Good for him. I thought after you tried to get on a plane with marijuana wrapped in foil, nobody would ever hire you as a head coach.
Hey.
But,
Mighty Mouse grew up. It's okay. It was they were
big ups to
interviewing
Damon
him,
Stoudemire.
and he was saying that his biggest recruiting benefit are the parents of the kids, because the parents are the one that saw him play ball, so they want his kids to go play. They want their kids to go play for him.
That makes sense. Speaking of head coaches, John,
Lon Babby is a bloody wanker.
the Suns' own former head coach, Jeff Hornacek, got hired by the New York Knicks. What do you think? Good hire?
It's better than I thought they were going to do.
Absolutely, because we all thought Kurt Rambis, right?
If not Kurt Rambis, somebody of that caliber. Because we knew they weren't going to get a
Phil's
big.
guy.
We knew they weren't going to get a Walton. They weren't going to get a Thibodeau. None of those guys. But it's good enough. I don't think that there's enough talent on that team.
I think Hornacek got a
I don't
raw
think there's
deal
any
in Phoenix.
Juice surrounding it that any coach would have made a big splash, unless give me a big name like a Calipari or something showing up.
Oh, Calipari wants to retire in Kentucky. Like, he's not going anywhere.
Drives me nuts. I want him to take it. I want that dude in the NBA.
Well, I will say that I would rather have John Calipari as the Suns coach than Earl, my man, Watson. But
I was
so I think
screaming for
Hornacek.
Calipari
I
all
hope
year.
Hornacek does well. I hope he does well in New York, because I think he got a raw deal in Phoenix.
He definitely got a raw
the-
deal, but we really don't know how good of a coach he is.
Right. I think he can be progressive. He was about an up-tempo system, similar to what they had before, shooting a lot of threes. It's kind of where the NBA is moving.
He definitely understands today's NBA, which that's a good hire for Phil Jackson, because he was looking at guys that understood yesterday's NBA.
Right. But as we're seeing, the NBA comes down to insane talent.
Sure.
So if you get
But you got to shoot,
Kevin
though.
Durant.
Got to be able to shoot in this league.
and Russell Westbrook, yeah, absolutely. John Derby, did you know that there are 5 former Suns who became Knicks head coaches?
I did not know that.
Go ahead and go. So I'll give you Hornacek and D'Antoni. Kurt Rambis was a former Suns coach as well. Pat Riley
When did Pat Riley coach for the Suns?
and somebody named McLeod.
Beats me.
I think it was, Pat Riley, Suns coach. Yeah, absolutely. Pat Riley's coach for the Suns in 75, 76. And let's find McLeod.
What was he, like a video coordinator?
Doesn't
They didn't
matter.
even have video, so he was like a projectionist coordinator.
Hey, that's how the Miami coach got in the,
Oh,
the
I know,
game.
it's
John
Spoelstra.
McLeod. John McLeod as well.
Oh.
So there you go.
Johnny Mac.
There's your Suns history. Anything else I can do for you before we go? You want any more NBA
Oh,
knowledge
man,
you need to know?
I am full to the brim.
Warriors in 7, Cavs in 7.
None of these were your
Warriors
actual
in-
predictions to start any of these series.
Well, we didn't do a show, so I don't have to back up that. Although it is on my Twitter feed.
This
I
is
did tweet it.
revisionist history. I have the text.
Hey, I still believe. Steph's going to get hot for 3 games. That's it.
He's going to have
Well,
to.
then he'll get to the finals. And then Draymond Green will get a flagrant and have to sit out a game. But whatever. All right.
I love that we're just going out to you clapping. It's time for the Facebook World News Update. This Real to Someone news update is brought to you by Young at Heart. For it's hard, you will find, to be narrow of mind, if you're. A woman in Brentwood said she's in the sauna in the girls' locker room. 2 ladies walk in. They smell like sweaty ball sack. Yes, she knows what it smells like. It's confusing and unpleasant. She hates her sense of smell. A man in Inglewood said if a restaurant provides him with 2 plates right off the bat, he's probably not gonna do it right. A man in Los Angeles said when people are trending on Twitter, he knows that they died or said something racist.
Next tonight here, the tragedy at Yellowstone National Park involving a baby bison after 2 tourists put the bison in their car thinking they were saving it from the cold.
I don't care if you love the Lion King. F the Walt Disney Company. Lions are not cuddly and cute animals. They are savage, f***ing killers. Dumbo is the reason we aren't afraid of elephants. Elephants are killers. They will run you right the f*** over. Beware. Not only is it Disney, but the Coca-Cola Company has told us that polar bears are sweet and simple beings. F*** that. Bears are all killers. They eat their own babies. What makes you think they won't eat yours? Bison too are wild animals. Leave them the f*** alone. They are not cold when they are outside in the elements. F***ing idiots. Pull your heads out of your asses already.
It's a frustrating trend, people snapping bison selfies.
And Morgan Freeman, please for the love of God, stop narrating documentaries about how human animals seem to be.
In the harshest place on earth, love finds a way.
They are not human. They all eat their own shit. They f*** anything in sight, and eat their own kin. Let's keep the wild, wild. We must stop pretending that animals are humans. Anthropomorphism.
A man in California said that awkward moment when your coworkers tell you they saw you and your friends fighting with lightsabers in front of your house. A woman in Los Angeles said she ain't trying to waste #KNOW buddy's time, and she damn show don't want #KNOW body wasting hers, #period, #moving right along with my business, ... This Real to Someone news update is brought to you by Young at Heart. For it's hard, you will find, to be narrow of mind, if you're...
Dad's got notebooks. We don't know what's in her notebooks. She's gonna show us all her notebooks. Little yellow pad.
This special edition of Little Yellow Pad is brought to you by Haha, I won my Survivor Fantasy Draft. These were my contestants as of 2/13/2016. Ty, Darnell, Debbie, Nick, Michelle, and Joe. 3 of those were in the final 5, 2 in the final 3, and 1 won. Let me tell you about my team. Ty was a runaway fan favorite this season, a diminutive gay Vietnamese refugee. Ty had some magical powers of lovability that kept a chicken safe on an island of starving people for 40 days. In the first episode, he said that he didn't know why he was on the beauty tribe. Maybe it was his inner beauty, and he proved that correct. So good job, editors, in getting that line in, because that was exactly what. In his bio, he said that his mom told him, if you have health and both hands, you can never go to sleep cold or hungry. So Ty just makes me feel like I have absolutely no room to ever complain about anything. And I wish she had won, but Sia gave him $50,000 for his charity and $50,000 for himself, and everyone loves him, so he's great. He lives in San Francisco with his boyfriend, and he's pretty cute in person, so you go, Ty. Anyway, Darnell, he was voted out first. Sorry, Darnell, you seem nice. Debbie, she was the kooky coach of the season, and let me tell you something about Survivor. The kooky middle-aged women do not get treated well. You know, kooky middle-aged guys like Philip and Coach. Sorry, Coach, maybe you weren't middle-aged when you were on, but you kind of are now. Anyway, They get treated okay. People love them, but the women not so much. Debbie, however, turned it around. So she's one of those people that started off the season like cuckoo, and then, you know what? You just grew to love her in spite of herself. She, I picked her because she's one of those sort of clearly athletic ladies, and she didn't disappoint, right? But I always pick that one. I always pick whoever, like the middle-aged lady that obviously does like mud runs or whatever, because one of those days that lady's going to win. Anyway, Debbie was also apparently indicted for faking water quality tests post-Katrina, so no comment on that, but she'll be back. Anyway, Nick. My nickname for Nick was Gaston. So imagine Gaston with a 5 o'clock shadow on Survivor. That's Nick. So I honestly feel like he's one of those guys that you'd like in real life, but the camera adds 15 douche points because he was really pretty douchey on the show. But I did meet him in person, and he's really good looking. So now I understand why he was on the Beauty Tribe. Anyway, Joe. Joe was 71 or 72, depending on who was talking on screen at any given point. And he was medevaced at the end of the season. So before that, the average age of the Survivor medevacs was 37.6 years. And out of something like a dozen people that have been medevaced over 30 plus seasons, only one woman. So that means all the guys under 40 are the ones being medevaced. And so I didn't think Joe was going to go, but he did. And it was sort of sad because he got medevaced for eating like 6 pounds of beef sticks and not enough roughage. Anyway, he's fine now. And I don't care. Until you're 71 or 72 on an island for 37 days, you don't get to mock him. So I wonder if he's single. I should see if he's on Twitter. Anyway, the last one is Michelle. So I picked her because, sometimes the unopposing young women do well. And this was one of those times. So people were mad that she won because they wanted like the smarter, sort of more strategic acting person to win, right? That was Aubrey. But I think that Michelle just knew the golden rule. Know your audience, right? So her jury wanted a personable, loyal, like non-smarty pants wordsmith to win. Now, I'm not saying not smart. She was smart. But I don't think the jury wanted someone that they felt was talking fake smart to them. So anyway, that's how I feel about it. But anyway, I would never play Survivor, right? Because I'm allergic to mosquito bites, bad at sports, and I get sun poisoning. But I don't have to be good at Survivor, right? Because I just have to be good at Survivor Fantasy League. Three-peat. Anyway, thanks, Michelle, for winning. Sorry, Kristen and Dexter. That's the way it goes. Three-peat. Hugs to Ty and Mark the Chicken. Also, Dr. Joe, the hot Paul Bettany English doctor guy. Call me. And anyway, thanks for lunch, Kristen and Dexter, and thanks for taking me to the finale. And I don't know what else to say. Have a great week. 3 times. I won 3 times.
I've brought bread.
To men, women, and children.
I've brought water with lemon for the table.
I have hot tea.
Can I box that for you?
I'll bring your change.
So I teach martial arts at a Midwestern university, and we have a lot of students that don't necessarily take it as seriously as maybe they should. So speaking of papers getting lost and having a few pages disappear when maybe they shouldn't, we had one student who, they're supposed to write a paper to get their black belt that talks about the values that they've learned and how martial arts has made them a better person and all that. And it has to be a 10-page paper, and everybody knows that it has to be a 10-page paper, and everyone always complains about the length. So he turned in this paper electronically, and in the paper he talks about integrity and honesty and all that. And all of his periods, all of his punctuation were size 16 font. Whereas all of the rest of his text was size 12. So at his black belt test, when he's supposed to be talking about the virtues that he's picked up through martial arts, somebody asked him about it, and I was saying like, well, why is it that all of your punctuation is this font? By the way, if you reduce it all to the correct font, you're only at 8.5 pages, and that's well short of the 10-page minimum. And he didn't really have an answer. His only answer was like, well, that's what I do for all of my classes. Which to me is a terrible answer because obviously you're cheating for all of your classes now. And it's not like something that you can casually accidentally do. It's not like setting the margins to the wrong size where, oh, there was a default. You literally had to go find every period and comma and change them to a larger font, which you thought would be unrecognizable, but which, someone figured out. I just feel like if you had just spent that time on writing more content, and maybe a little more reflection, you could have written something a little bit better about, integrity and honesty and all that stuff.
What grade did he get?
What's that?
What grade did he get?
Oh, he failed his paper portion, so he had to go rewrite that. He passed his physical portion of the test, but that whole thing about values and everything, he didn't do so well.
Not so much.
So he had to go back and redo that before he was able to get his black belt. So, yeah.
Perfect.
That was great.
And that was Brian, the martial arts teacher. Thanks, Brian.
Shout out to Brian. Great story. How do you do so much work to get a black belt, then you can't finish the paper? That seems to be the easiest part.
And you did 8.5. You couldn't crank out another page and a half of, even if you're just regurgitating something you already said.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And in conclusion, make a lot of statements like that just take up space. Today, I would like to write a paper about...
And as I previously stated, ...
Right. Once again, I would like to say that discipline and honor are very important.
Right.
Yeah, I could write
very,
a paper today.
very important.
I mean, you got to give him a little credit for trying to get sneaky, and especially if he did it in all of his classes, how many times did it work?
Okay, so that was a lie. There's no way he's ever, because the first teacher he ever pulled that on would have called him. There's no way. So he lied there.
You'd have to think so.
But of all the things to attempt, I mean, triple space instead of double space. You could get away with that possibly. Right. Size 12 and a half, size 13 even. Yeah. For the whole paper.
Brian said it in the story. Mess with your margins a little bit. Change it to 12.75.
Yeah.
Get creative. Don't 16.5. And that just sounds like even more difficult. Every time you had to do a period, that means he had to highlight it, or he had to change the font size, hit the period, and then he went back to 12.
Yeah, that seems so weird to just focus on the I'm just gonna double the size of the punctuation. Why would you do that?
That's a lot. It feels like a lot of work, actually, And now that I'm thinking about actually typing it, because I don't think there's no way you can just set a punctuation 16 setting. He had to go through and change each period to 16.
Right.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
But of just all the ways to think of, this is how I'm going to fill space, that's probably the most noticeable way you could do it.
You were a shitty student, John. Did you ever try anything crafty like this?
No, I wasn't. I was a decent student. I only did poorly when I didn't care. But
you never,
no, I cheated. I cheated on plenty of tests. But I never got caught.
Your technique?
In fact, the one time I ever got accused of it, I wasn't even doing it. A teacher screamed at me one time saying I was looking over at someone's paper, and I absolutely was not. He sent me off into this separate table in the corner, and then somebody next to me even chimed up and said, "Hey, I didn't see him look over at all." And he's like, "Mind your business." I think the dude was just having a bad day.
Just flipped out.
But it was, I literally didn't even look. Because I never cheated off of other people. I would always
bring your own
notes.
Yeah,
I would, have notes or, something somewhere. That was always my game. I never depended on someone else.
Yeah, I guess there was the graphing calculator was the greatest thing ever because you could literally write programs inside of it.
Sure.
So anytime you could have a graphing calculator, I could have the whole thing written in. I never really did it because I was always really good at math, so I didn't need to. But physics was the only thing. It was my junior year in high school, and I was just smoking way too much weed then, and I just didn't want to do it. And it was the guy set up the course like a college style class where you work out of packets and you work in groups and stuff.
Right.
And this is the reason my whole college experience went bad is because I didn't take that class seriously and I just cheated. We would just copy off each other in tests and everything, you know? So I didn't learn a damn thing in physics. And then I go to college and I take physics my freshman year and I still got a C, but I didn't know what I was
Right.
doing.
You're like, I didn't have any high
so the
school
only time
physics
I
to
cheated,
support it.
totally, it directly bit me in the ass next year and ended up costing me tons of money. So don't cheat, kids.
Well, I don't even know if that's entirely true.
Right.
Every now and again.
It does show, if you're good at it, there is some intelligence in there, and it just shows that you're willing to do whatever it takes to get ahead.
Not to glorify cheating or dishonesty, but there is a certain amount of, you still put in work, and maybe maybe you could have committed that same time and effort to the short-term memory that would have been required to pass that test. But if you write out a bunch of information as a cheat sheet, you're still doing the work in a sense. You just didn't clamp it into your brain short term.
Which to me, like, test taking wise, like, that's a technique in itself, and I don't know if that necessarily is more beneficial than the other way anyway.
Right.
It's like, that's just memorization, and that's just one aspect of
of course,
accumulating knowledge.
Can you short term memorize something and then regurgitate it?
Totally. That's why I was always, when I started smoking a lot of weed and I switched from like a left brain thinker to a right brain thinker, I got really good at writing essays because it wasn't about the exact answers anymore. It was like, okay, I can gloss over this, find what I need to be, and then I would always do good in essays.
Yeah. I was always better at English class than I was at math, because math there's one answer. In English and things,
I was the opposite.
All sorts of answers.
Yeah, right. I was the opposite until I never got an A in English until my senior year of high school, which is kind of weird. And I always directly correlate that with the copious amounts of dope I smoked.
Dopious amounts.
Dope. So don't smoke dope, kids. It'll cost you $30,000 in loans at college later when you get a full ride and you lose it.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, it's stupid. Big shout out to Brian. Great story. Thank you so much.
Sir.
I would have liked to known which martial art it was, though. That's my only. I
think we can go with. I'm gonna guess Taekwondo.
Right, that's what I would assume too. All right, big shout out to Deb, of course.
Always.
Thanks for sending us stories. Thanks for your little yellow pad notes. We love them.
Thanks, Deborah.
Shout out to Jesse. Jesse just had a birthday.
Birthday
Happy
boy
birthday to
Macintosh.
Jesse. I think he's like 64, but he looks really good.
62, actually. 62. Yeah.
Nice. He must moisturize and exfoliate.
He bathes in cocoa butter.
Ooh. I want to be close to him suddenly. Where can the people find us, John?
86charles.com.
That's 86charles.com. You can find us on the Twitters and the Instagrams at Company Blaster. We're on Stitcher. We're on iTunes. We're on YouTube. We are everywhere. Oh, we're going to switch it up this week. I decided we're not going to do a final word per se. Well, we are going to, but we're going to 86 something. What are we 86ing this week, John?
Oh, man. You should have given me a heads up.
I forgot. We had a week off. I forgot to talk to you. There's an obvious one, but don't do it.
Do you have one? Give me one first.
Ugh. Well, I figured you were going to say 86 the Warriors.
No, I'm not ready to do that yet.
Okay. Don't 86 the Warriors. All right.
No.
At the restaurant, when I worked at a macaroni grill, there was an 86 board. We would always go up and write an 86 compassion.
I don't want an 86 compassion. That sounds terrible.
No, but when you're working at a restaurant, there's a bunch of assholes around. It's gone, It's gone.
That's fair. This is lame, but I'll 86 the heat. It's too hot too soon. I want it to stay like 70 something for a little while longer.
Not the Miami heat, just heat in general?
Yeah, temperature, not.
All right. So actually you should 86 the
global
86
warming.
Spring. 86 the nice, beautiful springtime because it's over.
Yeah, it's
Here
true.
comes the heat.
It's just about summertime.
Wish you could 86 the heat.
It's too soon.
Sacktown heat. All right. Until next time.
Yeah. That's all I got.
The new boy in the neighborhood lives downstairs and it's understood. He's there just to take good care of me, like he's one of the family.